So this is from the patch that went live yesterday on Korea. A little weird. Usually their patches, their Tespia even, always on Thursdays, but it seems that they released it on Wednesday. Maybe it's Wednesday sometimes, but in my brain it was I was like expecting it on Thursdays, and then either Thursday evening or Friday. Max has a translation up, but it was interesting that people were already talking about stuff that was available yesterday. But now we have the full translation. I'm always like a day late with these things. I don't like to go in, use Google Translate for patch notes when I don't speak Korean. Like I can kind of read and write it, but like I don't know what any of it says. I can just kind of try to pronounce it in my horrible linguistic understanding of it. So here we are. Now we have the official translation. I trust Max with this. That's why I support his Patreon, and you should too if you enjoy his content. Orangemushroom.net. Support him on there. But yeah, let's get into it. So it says reboot, boss changes, and skill balancing. Didn't hear much about that. So let's see if that's a lot or if it's just mentioned for for being complete. This Testserver patch was released a day early, actually. Well, okay, I really have to get into the habit of just starting to read and then giving my comments, because 99% of the time I start with this whole fucking intro, and then the first two things I read from Max like clear everything up, and it's like, okay, never mind. It's not, okay, whatever. Probably because of all the drama. Lol, it contains changes to the Dawn bot set. All the drama, so it's the thing with reboot and non-reboot and people being unhappy there. And on top of that, a lot of hacking apparently was exposed. People who have been hacking for months and months and months, in years actually. Apparently there was a person who was hacking in Oz for several years, like 7 years plus or something, just selling servers to people to get good Oz rings. And yeah, that's been it's been a while that has been going on, and a lot of hackers like trying to one up each other with how long they've been getting away with things. And I think KMS actually shut down their version of Oz called the Seed. They shut it down so that nobody can get in there anymore, just until they get it all figured out. And yeah, it's another huge controversy on top of everything that's already going on with KMS and the things that just 2 years ago, with the potentials and invulnerability and all that, and the flames, not the potentials. Potentials is coming, dude. Here's my theory on potentials, okay? When you're a mage, you always roll strength. When you're a strength user, you always roll intellect. I believe that there is something, not particularly in the potential. So I think if you look at the potentials, you won't see that there is something there. This is like my tinfoil hat, okay? I don't think you will see there that there's any extra weight that will mess things up, but I believe that there is somewhere in the game's code something that weights whether you have a lot of a certain stat already or you don't have a lot of a certain stat, that it tries to slightly give you more of the stat that you're missing more of, to kind of like restore the balance between all of the main stats in the game. And this is confirmed by the fact that Demon Avengers actually don't have trouble rolling strength, but because they have 4 of each base stat, so they're already in balance. So there's no weighting there. So they can just get HP at the normal rates. But because HP isn't treated as a main stat, they don't have a lower chance of rolling it, because they don't believe that HP actually can be a main stat. But because it was originally designed as all the stat. But that's my tinfoil hat off now, okay? But yeah, let us know if you cube on a on a mage. Do you see strength more or less? I don't know. Or do you think it's exactly the same? Just, you've got 20 cubes, you're trying to look for strength, you roll dex twice, intellect 3 times, luck 4 times, and strength never. Maybe that's just me. If that's not your experience. Okay, we're moving off of that topic now. I'm still on the Pringle cans thing, sorry. So, they changed it to the Dawn boss set, Reboot world, party bossing rewards, skill balancing, and changes to many boss partners. Dawn boss set, maybe something we need to look out for. Again, this is coming Tespia, so it's probably going to be 1 to 2 weeks in Testserver, then full patch week after. And yeah, and then we have usually about 6 months, maybe sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more, depending on how it's released for us. Anywhere from like 4.5 to 7 months, basically, but usually around 5 to 6. So if this is something that we need to, take into account when it goes live, we want to know about it early. But you probably already heard some snippets about them cutting into boss carries, specifically in Reboot. Okay. Changes many boss patterns. Cool. For those of you who don't know, recently in KMS there's been a sort of incident where a person who was hacking in the seed was exposed, which kind of set off a chain reaction of other hackers revealing their programs and what they have been able to do for the past few years. They actually blocked access to the seed a few days ago. Okay. Max, I already said all that, okay? No need to repeat. Okay. Combined with the current atmosphere of players being mad about the state of regular servers, they are now angry that Nexon has not been sufficiently dealing with hackers. They have released a few different notices, including the issue overall, the things they are missing in their anti-hack approach. I hope that that doesn't lock things up to such an extent that things that are completely fine to use will now be seen as third-party programs and will end up getting people banned. I hope that's... because historically... people who play legitimately are always the victims of people who hack. And anyone who ever says like, oh, this person's just hacking, you know, there's nothing to do with you, you know, they're not negatively affecting your gameplay, especially in Reboot, you're all just so dead wrong, okay? Every single hack causes the developers to make something that can trace the hack. Every single instance of something that needs to trace something has to cast a wide net to catch everyone, will always catch some people that didn't do anything wrong, because that's necessary to be able to catch everyone who did something wrong. Otherwise some people will slip through, and then those will multiply, and then that will become the new problem. Plus, everything you implement has some kind of negative effect on existing player base. Either it's having to do captchas where you shouldn't, sometimes getting white-roomed, AFK mobs, you know, storage being locked up because of duping in the past. All of that stuff are things that were put into place to stop people who were abusing the game, and they just find a workaround, they just start doing something else, and then the people who are left and play the game legitimately have to play this Jenga Tower, House of Cards version of the game to try to get to the finish line that's just being cluttered by bullshit because other people have abused the game. So if your point, if your opinion has ever been like, you know, hacking is not that bad or other people aren't affected, you're just plain dead wrong, okay? And if, you know, you ever hear someone say that and you need an argument, you can borrow this one, and then good luck on grats on winning that conversation. Where were we? They've released a few different notices, including the issue overall, the things they're missing, yeah, blah, 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 and updating the TOS to be more strict. Again, in Korea, hacking in video games, you know, technically here is illegal as well, but no one is really going to do anything unless it's on a big scale, unless the company can prove that they're missing out on a lot of money. People. So whether that will ripple through to the, you know, to the global TOS and everything, we'll have to see about that. Yesterday released another notice saying that they have banned 59 Maple IDs in regards to improper activity in the seed. I mean, 59 is not too many, so that seems like, in Korea's huge server, so that seems like that was a pretty well kept secret, or they're just only scratching the surface on finding who is actually, I'm expecting that number to increase. This one's kind of funny because they also said that they have seen an increase in hacking activity over the past couple of days, and they told people not to try hacking because they'll definitely get banned, lol. I mean, yeah. I mean, I want to do another video at some point about just the conversation about why do we hack? Why do people hack? Why is it just so silly? Not silly, but just it should give you internal dissonance and just make you it should make you rethink, take one step back, rethink, and being like, what am I doing? Like, why am I wasting my time on this if I don't care? And if I do care, why am I doing this? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, are you worried? Yes. Are you worrying? Yes. Can you do anything about it? Yes. Then don't worry, because you could do something about it. No. Then don't worry, because you can't do anything about it. Like, it immediately circular goes back. But I want to talk about that later in a different video, kind of give that some thought on how I'm going to tackle that. But I think it's an interesting topic to talk about, you know, given that we had the Zong situation, the Dookie situation, and how people have handled that. Maybe throw out some polls somewhere so I can get some feedback that we can use as a basis to have the conversation. I'll think about that. Okay, we got through that. So, Donboss set tradability changes. Okay, so, you know, I kind of saw the KMST, and then Steve made like a 2-minute video talking about like, you know, Reboot, bossing changing, carries changing. But I think, what people touched on, that was a very good point, is that a lot of the problems with Reboot, or a lot of the people going into Reboot, the main thing was not we need Reboot nerfed, but was we want non-Reboot to not have these shitty problems that they're having right now. One of them was tradability, so I'm hoping that this addresses that properly, and I'm sure that at this point, MapleStory Korea players are not afraid at all giving their honest and full feedback on any kind of issue that's at hand. So I want them to be vocal and to really jump in on that. Dimensional Mirror, Maple Chronicles, so they're keeping up to date all of the new stuff that's coming out. Oh yeah, Boss Rewards acquisition criteria changes. Yeah, so that's about the, you know, the minimum damage you have to deal to be able to get drops. And like I said before, obviously the system that MapleStory is going to put in place was going to be the most rudimentary, basic, lack of any kind of nuance, like, oh, you just have to do X amount of damage. Cool. Good luck, supports. I'm praying for you, okay? Improvements, graphic options stuff. Okay, let's look into it. So Dompa said tradability changes. Again, some of this stuff might look a little bit weird for us because we have a completely different meta in GMS, right? We've got Sweetwater stuff, we've got Superior stuff. So some of this doesn't really come into play for us. Maybe it does later. And in general, tradability, most of us are playing on Reboot, so it's not even a thing in our brain. But for non-Reboot, it's a huge thing, of course. You know, a lot of it is investing into a single piece, a lot of money, a lot of time, with the promise in the future of being able to somehow, you know, reclaim that value so you can start up your new project or fund your new project or make some money back from your former project. Following items have been changed so that you can use Platinum Scissors, Karma Scissors on them, Twilight Mark, Daybreak Pendant, and the Stella Earrings. Scissor limit of 10, which I think this is one of the things that the people were most complaining about, the players, is that they didn't want that scissor limit to be there, or at least it to be higher. Because at a certain point, you know, you're going to be the last guy holding the bag, and then that item is going to stick with your character forever. Now, you know, you would expect an item to be cheaper. If you can seize the scissor limit and you see that it's reached, hopefully that item will be cheaper because, you know, someone's going to be holding that bag, but it's still, I don't know if this is going to change anything. It doesn't seem, again, I don't play non-Reboot though, so I could be wrong, but it seems like that's like a, we talked about yesterday when you put like a band-aid on an amputated appendage, like, I mean, you're trying, but not really having any effect there. The boss accessory set was designed to be a set that gave step-by-step growth from the boss accessory set, basically an in-between for the pitch boss set, which is incredibly hard to get. Ever since they became untradeable after equipping them, you had to invest a considerable amount of materials in the next step of items the pitch boss set. You had to switch to them. This was an issue that made players reluctant to use the Dawn boss items. And, of course, if you release something into the game because you wanted to solve a problem, if it doesn't solve that problem, you have to tweak the item. Otherwise, you know, all of that development is going out the window. To allow for gradual growth in accessories as intended, we have changed the Twilight Mark, Stella Earrings, and Daybreak Pendant from the Dawn boss set so that you can use Platinum Karma Scissors on them. Some existing items' value may become lower due to this change, but we decided that the factor of improving the game's overall equipment growth process would be a net positive. We not change the Dawn Guardian Angel Ring, as the demand and effectiveness of that item are sufficiently high, since it can be used with 3 other ring items. Okay, well yeah, so, I mean, again, it's Tespia, so they might be doing more. And in the past we've talked about when they made really big changes, sometimes they like overcorrect, then they have to course correct again, then they have to nerf again. I think it's always better to do small incremental changes, and then slowly work your way towards where you want to be, rather than to make a huge change and then everyone jumps on it immediately and then it's like, oh, it's actually too much, then you have to nerf it. It's better to do +1+1+1 and end up at 3. Then everyone's happy, rather than, even if it's a slow process, rather than do +5 and then everyone's super happy, and then do -2 and then everyone's super pissed, even though you end up at the +3, both of them. So, undoubtedly, just the first step of many things to come. I think that, you know, they need way more to restore that balance, that perceived unbalance between Reboot and non-Reboot at this point. Yeah. So, what's the next thing? Reboot world boss reward acquisition criteria changes. Something else we can rip into. Love that it's Tespia, so we can complain as much as we want and be super hypercritical because we don't even know if this is going to be what gets into the game. This is just their calculations, their plan for now, and we'll see 1 or 2 weeks later where everything ends up. So basically, for Reboot, in parties of 2 or more. Okay, I think I said yesterday more than 2, but 2 or more already. Boss rewards and intense power crystals can only be acquired by party members that deal a total of 5% damage or more to the boss and the monster summoned by the boss. This raises one question. When you talk about damage dealt, is it the number that you send out, or is it the HP of the monster? If a boss has a bunch of summons, and you are very strong, and you just happen to hit all of them first, if you hit like a 5 bill line on a monster, does that count as you having dealt 5 billion damage to monsters in that boss fight? Or if the monster only has like 50,000 HP, does it count as 50,000 HP damage? That's something I don't know. I don't know how much that is calculated. The other thing is when it comes to drop rate for boxes, we talk about how much damage is dealt to the box, and the person who deals the most damage to the box determines the drop rate for the shared items. So does it mean you have to do at least 5% damage to the box as well to get EXP, to get drops from the boss, from the box? Yeah, like I said before, 5% is probably fair in a party of 2. Party of 3, probably as well. Party of 4, yeah, probably. 5 or 6, I don't know. If you have 2 supports in a party of 6, it's possible that those supports only do about 5% each, because those other 4 are being extremely buffed. So they might do like 22, 23% of 4 of them. If you add that up, that's 92%, and then there's like 4% left for each of the supports. I don't think that's crazy in a 2 support 4 DPS setup. But I totally understand for 2, 3, or 4 members. The percentage should probably be lowered a little bit for 5 or 6, if I'm just thinking about it out loud right now. You can come up with... you can think of like other things. Or you could say, it has to be... I would even be willing to say it has to be up to 10% or even 15% if it's a 2-man party, but kind of like do it like a scale. Or say this only applies up until a certain boss, or there's certain percentages depending on which era of boss it is. I feel this is too much of a one-fix solution for a multi-pronged problem. I would like to see the thoughts behind this, like the nuance, but we'll read this and we'll see how they got to this. I know that there's like the thing of like 40% of people only did 1% or like less than 1% of the damage. That's probably going to be part of that. Let's go. You got a Berserk yesterday and finished it in 3.4 bill. I hate you. Congrats. Quests and achievement related to defeating the boss, as well as items that can only be acquired during certain quests, can still be completed and acquired regardless of the newly applied reward acquisition criteria. So this is really weird to me. So let's think of the consequences of this. So one person who could technically solo the Black Mage can take in 5 supports who know what they're doing, but don't really need the money or the drops. That's already 2 big ifs. And then they can help them kill the Black Mage even faster and make like the full, 1.5 bill from the crystal. But they can still use the completion for the Genesis weapon, but they just won't be able to get arcanes or drops at the end, and then the person who did the run can get all of it. You got one yesterday as well. Hit 19 3 times and then boomed in 5 bill. 19 is pretty free. Past 19 is just shit show. Yeah, I still haven't seen a 22. I've got 7 boomed pitch now. Feels good. I mean, 7 sounds like I'm getting lucky with the drops, but I've got hundreds and hundreds of runs. I'm running on multi-characters, so I'm past, I think I'm around 110 Varicilla kills, I think, now, and I still haven't seen a source, like, in any of my runs, so it's like, we're we're struggling out here. Reboot's World's Intense Power Crystals pricing criteria has been changed, so existing based on the number of party members when entering a boss. Changed to based on the number of party members who have dealt 5% damage to the boss and the monster summoned to the boss. Oh yeah, so the other implication of this is, if you're doing a party now, you're doing a pickup group, you're doing like a quick run, and there's a really strong person, right now you'd be like, oh shit, yeah, get that person in there, we can get a fast run, we can get our rewards, we're getting like semi-carried, hell yeah. The future is going to be like, wait, how strong are you? Yeah, can you unequip some weapons so we can have a... or not some weapons, but can you unequip some stuff so we can make sure that we get that 5% damage? Also, is that 5% damage going to be visible anywhere? Or are you just going to have to pray every single time the box gets opened that something drops for you, and if it didn't, you just got fucked? Because if there's a counter on the screen and you can see that someone's at like 4.9% damage, can you could just hold damage a little bit, let them go up to past 5% so they can get drops. If you know they're a support or they're struggling. What about someone who has a bad internet connection and is doing their best and you're trying to help them, get drops? It's not like really a carry. It's just someone who has either a bad computer, bad internet, a combination, but they're like your friend and you still want to help them like get through the game. Is that person just going to be completely destroyed now because are they going to have to run with like 5 bishops or like 5 supports, not just bishops, who can have to try to keep them alive at all times and keep them past that fact? Like, I don't know. The problem is they don't want everyone to get carried. Why do you not want everyone to get carried? I think you need to put a positive solution, right? Like, you want party play. How about you keep this what it is, or like slightly nerf drops in this way, but why not just boost if people who are fighting the boss are close to each other in like damage output instead? How about you boost that, right? Punishing a negative versus awarding a positive tends to, I don't read anything, but but I'm pretty sure that's way more effective, right? At least I feel like I've heard that like dozens of times. I think focusing on that would be a better idea here. But what would be the perfect solution? We'd have to really think about that. So the most recommendation Reboot World is a world where you directly acquire all the items, which makes it a world that maximizes the fun of farming equipment and growing step by step. Fun. Welcome to Pitch Boss Hell. Okay. Fucking fun. However, there is an unintended playstyle actively taking place in Reboot World where characters who had not achieved the sufficient equipment growth standards would pay for boss clears. Okay, hang on. This is something completely different than getting carried. People who pay for boss clears in Reboot should just be banned under the TOS. So instead of trying to fix the problem of those people paying, you just don't make it possible for friends to like do exchange carries anymore so they can get to like arcanes faster. Again, this is why anyone who tries to game the system, break the TOS, tries to hack, you can defend it as much as you want, like it's only me. No, you're always affecting other people's gameplay. Now everyone has to play around these shitty rules because you just couldn't do things in a timely manner or play the game like it was intended. You had to take shortcuts. You had to, because you don't care about the contract that you signed when you signed a TOS. That's cool. But now everyone else has to pay for it. You're just extremely selfish. It's for all of these people. You're just extremely selfish. And, I'm not saying that as like, you just have to be aware of that, right? We have 60 data for Reboot and Reboot 2 World's party boss fights in January and February 2023, and over 40% of characters had dealt less than 1% total damage. Yeah, again, is this the hits or is this the raw damage on a large boss? That's not as not as different. But also, January, February were those months where people were highly promoting Reboot. A lot of people were moving over to Reboot, so we had a lot of people just basically getting their asses carried through connections. And I imagine people who were kind of jaded, locked into Reboot, completely endgame, nothing left to do, it would be a huge ego boost for them to essentially just carry a whole generation of new gamers and become some kind of god to these people, you know, that really you set yourself up to become like this thing that other people become dependent on and worship, especially when this kind of wave is going on. But if this goes connected to people actually paying for these carries, if people are already endgame in non-reboot and then they're moving to reboot, it's a very similar argument to like doing exchange carries within reboot if you've already gone through the whole game stage. Although I would say reboot and non-reboot are distinctly different experiences, so I can see how you would want to make the similar argument there, but I don't think it holds up because it's just a different version. Like, it looks the same, you know, the pixels are there, it's the same IP, but the way you get from A to B is just completely different. And yeah, like I said, I definitely want to make some kind of a different video, like a more structured video on like just like hacking, cutting corners, you know, not abiding by TOS, like where does it all come from and how can we, you know, it's probably just like screaming at the windmills, but I do want to do something with that. We decided these actions seriously undermine Reboot World's unique experience and implemented a systemic improvement plan as quickly as possible. It seems like a really quick band-aid that someone came up with in 3 seconds, but as we continue to add content in future, we'll try our best to make Reboot World's unique experience better. Okay, well, I bet you guys are going to have a lot to say about that. Dimensional Library, Maple Chronicle, Book of the Beginning. Of the Beginning. Wow, look at that. Yeah, new Cygnus Peoples. Book of the Beginning has been added to Dimensional Mirror, though. Through a newly added Book of the Beginning, you can look back at the stories of each class. The Book of the Beginnings contains the stories of the Adventure, Cygnus Knights, and Resistance job. Other jobs will be added in a later update. Book of the Beginning will unlock when you get each job's book achievement. You must have at least one of these achievements to open the book. You enter this content at any character level 100+, and through the Maple Guide or the Dimensional Mirror. Cool. The day after stories will be added to the Book of Arcane River in a later update. New achievements, get the adventure book, NPC Romy. We got Shangri-La, Book of Grandis as well. Grandies nuts. It's kind of doesn't like to have at least one character in the same world that has completed the Peach Blossoming Paradise achievement. Same requirements as the other one. Nice. Borderless, and then fuck, what is this? Oh, Cernium. Nice. That's a Cernium. Pultanon. What? Pultanon Cernium. Oh, Burning Cernium, of course. And this is Hotel Arcus, then probably. Yeah, Hotel Arcus. Yeah, nice. There we go. Those are just all the other areas. Improvements, graphic options. If you adjust the options graphics tab's background slider or quality section, it will now adjust the amount of particle effects displayed on the map for users with low performance PCs in 2023. But, you know, we did talk about them earlier. These people play video games as well. We improved the issue where the issue where gameplay was not smooth due to performance drops in certain maps. You can now alleviate the issue of gameplay in maps, yeah, like Labyrinth of Suffering, Moonbridge, and That Day of True Fat, or In True Fat, I think. These are rather many weather effects like fog or rain by adjusting background options. Okay, common skills, charge type. Oh my god, please. Oh, you have the ability to screw this up so much before I read it. You can actually make it better, or you can make it worse. Let's see which way you go. Certain charge type skills have been improved so that instead of displaying the cooldown on a quick slot, they will instead display the recharge cooldown. However, skills with a recharge time of 5 seconds or less are not included. The affected skills are as follows. All of the blessings. Okay, they show the timer until you can get it. Now, as long as this means that the skill is still not on cooldown, and you can still switch it out in the matrix at any given time, then I'm cool with that move. I think that's at least a little bit of a improvement. It's really cool, though, that you have a skill icon that says 831. That's not going to be confusing at all. The thing I care about, though, is when you have skills of this low cooldown, I want the ability for the skill alarm to be impacted a lot. I don't think they're talking about skill alarm here at all. Oh, these are more skills. Okay, so all of the... No, okay. I want the skill alarm to either show you when a skill is off cooldown or when a skill has ended, right? Because as we all know, a lot of us play pirates, roll of the dice, skills like that, where sometimes the duration of the skill is much shorter, much longer than the cooldown, but you might want to re-roll the skill. Now, I always look in the bottom right in the where the keys are to see if I can re-roll the skill. But if I roll the dice that I want, I don't want it to show up in the alarm whenever it's available again. I want it to show up in the alarm when it's disappearing in the top right as one of those 16 million skills up there. And then re-roll, because I want to keep my double sixes when I'm training, or double fives when I'm bossing. And when I didn't roll it, I want to be able to instantly re-roll, right? How do you set up for flexibility like that? That'd be cool if they would expand on the skill alarm, you know. That'd be cool. So everything with charges, all of Kane's kit basically. There's going to be a whole bunch of numbers down there. Hero's Will cooldown has been decreased from 360 seconds to 3... Oh, man, I thought it said like 120 or something. I mean, that I guess combat orders will no longer apply to this skill. Oh. I mean, everyone in late and endgame uses decent combat orders. I guess a minute lower cooldown. I mean, a minute lower cooldown for people all the way up until late game who don't have the matrix slots for it. But until you get to that point, there's maybe like 3 things in the game you would use Hero's Will for. This is completely unnecessary. Cygnus, Knight's Will. So all of the will skills, the same thing, I guess. Sneeze. Users added certain jobs, branches, blah, blah, not affected by combat orders, so there was a difference in cooldowns between jobs. Okay. So this is just to equalize it. Yeah, okay. I guess that's fine, but this doesn't do a whole lot to the gameplay. Like I said, you don't really use this early on in the game, so whether it has a 5 or a 6 minute cooldown there doesn't really make a difference. And by the time it does make a difference, it would have been okay as well if they just made combat orders work on the skills that it didn't work on now. But I guess if they were going to do that, they might as well do this, so that it's not contingent on having decent combat orders in there. That's probably fine. You started Burning Soul, Yunaka has a skill with a down arrow key to instantly summon it in fixed mode. Thank you. They really have to start doing stuff like this where you just do like alternate key setups so that you can get the alternate, yeah. Because this is basically you're feeling like a kinesis where you like summon the attack and then fire the attack. No, I want to be able to boom, plan it down. I don't see it mentioned here, but I hope that it also means that if you have it summoned somewhere in the map and you want to reposition it, that you can do down arrow and press the button again and that it instantly moves to where you are. I hope that they add that during the Tespia run and that it goes to live servers like that. Because what happens a lot, like I'm fighting Damien or something, I plop down the sword, I pop my burst, I wait for him to dive into the area, bind him, burst him, and then I want to fight him somewhere else, and he's always going to be dashing, you know, repositioning a lot. And then I'd have to take the sword away first with the skill key, and then again to place it down with the skill key again near him, and by that time, I've already lost like 3 or 4 attacks. And he's already teleported away again. So the best thing after a burst is just to disable it one time and then bring it with me, lower the DPS, but then at least it can hit wherever I am at that point, which is definitely not ideal. So I hope they implement that as well. Paladin, you're going to right-click the skill icon in the right window to hide the activation effect. Sure thing. Damage increased on blasts by not so bad of an amount. An extra 20% base damage is really nice. It's not quite 10%, but what is that, like 6.5% or something? 1/14. That's 6-7%. Divine Judgment, the damage has been increased from 500 to 550. That's nice. 10% final damage on that. Mighty Mjolnir damage increased from 360 to 400. Very nice. And the Shockwave damage increased from 400 to 450. Okay. I guess we would all agree that Paladin was probably not that crazy in the damage department, so they could probably use a boost there. Dark Knight, final damage boost decreased from 10% to 8%. Okay, I think Dark Knight was doing okay. And Dark Thirst, attack boost decreased from 80 to 50. Ooh, that's a pretty big one. Also, I don't know if Dark Thirst is still a skill that sometimes gets stolen by Phantoms. If it is, Phantom nerf as well. Archmage Ice Lightning damage increased on Chain Lightning, because why not? Archmage is struggling out there. From 200 to 220, 10% final damage on their main attacking skill. Okay, very nice. Bishop Blessing Ensemble, the final damage boost per party member has been decreased from 2% to 1%. Ooh. Yeah, I think in general all the Explorer mages were doing quite well after the final changes. They took the... what happened in the last changes? Fire Poison got nerfed, Ice Lightning got kind of the same where they were, and Bishops got buffed. So I guess the Bishop buffs were maybe a little bit too much, and the Ice Lightning the same, kind of make them fall. Buffs weren't good enough? Or, no, I said the same, right? Like the same was probably leaving them behind a little bit, so the Chain Lightning adjustments. Again, all Tespia, all Tespia. Blessing Harmony skill now permanently increases final damage by 4%. The final damage boost per party member has been decreased from 3 to 2. Skill description. Okay, so a little bit more base final damage for soloing, but not as much of a benefit on a full party. Okay. That should help them reach that 5% final damage of the boss, the total damage of the boss easier. Custom command for another one for Benediction has been added that lets you instantly use the decreased duration and cooldown without having to reuse the skill again. Good stuff. For the people who don't know, Benediction is typically 3-minute cooldown, pretty long duration, gives a lot of final damage, healing, attack speed, all of that. Basically like a domain. To all the people who stand in it, but a lot of the classes in the game don't have a 3-minute burst cycle, but they have a 2-minute burst cycle. So what they gave to bishops is that you can reuse the skill after, when it's active, to shorten its duration, but to give it a 2-minute cooldown instead of a 3-minute cooldown, so it synchronizes with the burst cycle of the 2-minute classes in your party. But so now what they're doing is very similar to what we saw here with the blade, is that you can use it probably with the down arrow key or something like that, but that it instantly activates as a 2-minute rather than a 3-minute. This is for two big reasons. One is you don't waste time when it's active, and you can, you're focusing on that rather than putting out 2 or 3 extra attacks to do more damage yourself. And the other thing is, if you're slamming the key to get it to activate because of low ping, high ping, sometimes you might turn it into the short duration when you don't want to, or some other skills, maybe not necessarily this one, have the negative effect of sometimes pressing the skill again will immediately cancel the skill. Which is why sometimes skill have either an activation that you would want, like this, or they have some kind of cooldown for a few seconds at least, or 1 or 2 seconds is usually enough after the activation that you can accidentally cancel it that quickly after activating it, because 99% of the time it's going to be accidental rather than a planned abort of the skill. Anciently Delivered by a custom command has been added so that you instantly use a decreased duration and cooldown without having to use a skill, again, so that you can make it then synchronize with Benediction, party play versus solo play. Flexibility, good. Adventure Archers skill has been improved so that the action delay when used upwards is affected by attack speed. Is that why my marksman's up jump was always so shit? Maybe. On all of the characters where my up jump would malfunction the most, it would always be marksman. Like, I would be tapping the key and the game would just act like I didn't do anything. It'd be like, nah, I didn't get that command. And it's like, oh, well, gee, thanks. Gee, thanks, I appreciate that, bro. Hang on, let me set up my Hydra team real quick here. Wait, who am I missing? Oh, Mithrala Lifebane, of course. Bowmaster, after each shot, the skill has been improved so that the passive effect activates while the active effect is not activated. Okay. Marksman, True Sniping. This skill has been improved so that you can no longer interact with NPCs when the mouse click state is cancelled after using the skill. The skill has been improved so that you cannot interact with NPCs with mouse clicks for 1%. Okay. Can you also improve it that if you go into True Sniping and you click to do the damage, that you stay in the iframe, that you still stay immune, and that you don't go out of the iframe faster? Or maybe I'm wrong. If you go into true sniping and you click and you do the damage and you get out of the visual, like laying down and the green, the screen being like darker, can you be hit again immediately after that, or do you still hold the entire duration of the iframe? Because, like, if I try to use true sniping for dragon, I'm always like just staying in the whole thing because I'm scared of getting hit by the dragon beam. But can I just click and do the damage instantly and then just attack like I'm already out? Or I guess if that's the case, you're saying that's the case. So what I would like, I guess, is that if you're hovering over somewhere to deal damage and your true sniping ends because, you know, the duration of the iframe ends, I wish it would just deal damage where you were aiming, so that, you know, if you were panicky or like clicking, that you don't lose out on all the damage. I guess it's still an iframe. Okay, I just have to be confidently standing in the green dragon breath and just pray not to die. Okay. Nightlord changes. The last changes for Nightlord were very positive, so let's see if they thought those were overboard or if they're going to add some more. The mark of the assassin damage has been changed to 150% regardless of character level. I'm guessing that's just a scaling thing. Shadow Leap action delay decreased by about 18%. Oh, Yawning increased by 100%. Mark of the Night Lord damage has been changed to 255% regardless. Okay, so just evening that out. Dark Serenity final damage boost decreased from 10 to 8. Okay, so the Dark Knight treatment here, and attack boost decreased from 40 to 20. Very similar. Skill is now increased Mark of Night Lord's damage by 100% points on 4 seasons. Okay, so a little bit of an early nerf, I guess, and then like a late to end similar or slight buff. I would have to look up the numbers, but I'm guessing they're trying to even out the... They're trying to make it more valuable getting further in the game, I guess. That's what it looks like. Attack boost decreased from 60 to 50 on Bleeding Toxin. Okay. So a little bit mobility buff, but damage just a small scale back, but nothing too crazy. A little bit of final damage and a little bit of weapon attack. This might be one of the first Nightlord nerfs. Well, there probably have been some that I'm forgetting, but in general, Nightlord's been getting buffed all around. Nice, 3 minutes into the Hydra and already 2 characters being eaten at the same time. And one already got swallowed, so that's runs it done. Shadower, Veil of Shadows, the lower attack range has been... The lower attack range? Oh, okay, so the reach, basically. Yeah, I don't like them using range for... because attack range is already something else, right? That's like the numbers in your stat window. So like the reach of the skill increased by about 16%. Okay, cool. So I guess maybe in some maps, maybe the lower platforms you can actually hit them. Chains of Hell skill for Dual Blade has been improved so that it can be used while in the air. Oh, yeah. Iframes need more utility for Dual Blade. I agree. It's going to change so that the effect disappears faster when the chains do not hit an enemy. It's a buff pre-level 295. Oh, gotcha. Okay, pre-level 295. Okay, that's that's the tipping point. I see. Okay. And then Viper, our good old Buccaneer. Defense form. This shield's magic reduction has been decreased from 30% to 25%. Ooh. The skill has been improved so that defense form's effect is not affected by skill effect transparency. And Serpent Screw skill has been improved so that you are put in combat only when you cast the skill. Thank you. Oh, I hate not being able to CC just because that thing is on and is killing monsters. Thank you. Okay. Captain or Corsair, Battleship Bomber, Bombardment activated when Sign of Bombardus installs attack range, so the reach again has been increased by about 33%. That's quite nice. Okay. Cannoneer, Oak Barrel Roulette. Yeah, dude, that skill has been changed like 15,000 times. Into a charge type skill, you can prepare 1 Oak Barrel Roulette every 15 seconds, and you can store up to 4. The cooldown and the halved cooldown when when a non-ice buff is applied have been removed. Okay. They've been offline for 2 years now. He's still doing game stuff. What's up, dude? If you cast it when standing on the platform in Lotus, it doesn't count you being in it when the platforms goes away. This might fix. Oh, okay, okay. Hopefully, yeah. Oh, that does sound like a bad situation. So I hope that fixes that. Yeah. And then Cannon Buster damage increase from 750 to 780. That's their main. Is it their main attack? It looks like it. Rolling Cannon Rainbow number of hits increase from 3 to 4. Oh, that's pretty nice. 33% final damage increase on that skill. Whoever that skill was intended to change the combat experience by receiving one of the various effects. However, decided that receiving an unwanted effect in tense combat situations caused excessive stress. So in this update, we improved that the skill will be able to charge multiple stacks and alleviate that stress. Okay, okay. Who's next? Dawn Warrior. Soul Blessing 1 attack boost, decrease. Soul Blessing 2 attack decrease. Soul Mastery critical damage boost, decrease. Okay. So it looks like they're just looking at... They probably have some kind of metric, right? They were doing the Varicella stuff before. Multiple metrics and just see who is overperforming and just slightly tweaking those, slightly down. Again, it feels bad to get nerfs, but I think a lot of these classes have gotten a lot of buffs in the last year plus. So... Again, looking at it in the grand scheme of things, I think all of these classes should probably still be totally fine with taking a little bit of a hit. Never feels good, but in the grand scheme of things, you're probably still performing pretty well. And if you're getting nerfed, it's a sign that your class is doing well. So see it as a compliment, and you know they're just making it a little bit more challenging for you because you're too good. You know, they have to rein you in a little bit. It's a compliment. Okay. Blaze Wizards. So hopefully on the flip side, that means Blaze Wizard getting some buffs. Let's see. Damage boost when attacking normal monsters has been increased from 20 to 25. Again, just for training and Grandis, I assume. Blaze Wizard must be broken then. Liberated Magic final damage boost decreased from 30 to 25. Ruh-roh. Orbital Flame 4. Damage boost when attacking normal monsters increased from 40 to 50. It's always weird to me when the damage to normal monsters has to be increased by that much. It feels like they're just overcompensating for a lack of balance somewhere else. Inferno Rise. Fuck's mode's damage increased from 340 to 630. And number of hits increased from 4 to 6. The additional attacks activated when you hit an enemy with 5 stacks of Fuck's extreme number of hits has been increased from 5 to 12. What do you mean they must be broken? Broken in a bad way now, right? What the hell is this change? Fucking damage increased from 340 to 630. That's almost doubling. That's quite nuts. And then the number of hits increased from 4 to 6. That's plus 50%. So instead of doing, what is it, 1,360%, you're doing 3,780%. Almost tripling the damage on Fox mode. The additional attacks activated when you hit an enemy with 5 stacks of Foxes makes your number of hits been increased from 5 to 12. So that's almost, that's 240% the final damage. Okay. But, you know, I guess taking away a little bit of the final damage to make sure that this doesn't go too crazy. Weekly quest reset is today. Don't know which one you're talking about exactly, but exclamation mark resets has all the resets and when things reset in the game. Because a lot of things have different resets. So you should be able to find everything there. And thank you for follow. Bye, Jimmy. Flame Wizard Fox Mode Inferno Rise is a skill that was designed to instantly deal a lot of damage in boss battles, but the damage was set too low to work as intended. In this update, we want to increase Fox Mode Inferno Rise's damage to supplement its importance in boss battles. Ever since Flame Wizard's Blaze Wizard is currently showing excessive performance in current boss battles, we adjusted Liberated Magic Final Damage Boost to make sure this adjustment did not have a large impact on grinding. We have also adjusted Orbital Flames damage boost when attacking normal monsters. So they said they are actually excessively performing. I wonder if that means they're actually being played. Again, like, regions are so different, but Blaze Wizards are pretty much non-existent in GMS. All the other classes just are people just like the other classes more. From what I played Blaze Wizards, I didn't think it was bad at all, but it is an acquired taste, I guess, and there's just so much other there's so many other options, right? It's just hard for any class to really stand out that way. Windbreaker, always a fart joke. Howling Gale skill has been improved so that if you use the skill with the down or up arrow key while not having enough prepared wind energy stacks, the skill will not be used. Oh, did they make it so that if you try to fire out 2 but you only have 1, that it still fires the 1? I think that's a good change. Yeah, I hope they do that with everything else that has multiple. Man, I wonder if they'll ever do that to the Cannoneer's Cannon, where you can do like regular, like just the button fires 1, down arrow fires 2, up with up arrow fires all 3, something like that. Because sometimes when I'm doing my bossing rules, I'm like, I need more than 1, but I don't need all 3 here. So then, I mean, then you can just tap the button twice to fire off 2 of them. Because they lower the cooldown in between, right? There's only like half a second cooldown between firing them. So it's not the worst, but it would also be cool if you had the option to just do like, oh, with down arrow, boom, fire 2 immediately and then move on. But I guess it's not as much of an inconvenience now that I think about it. But if you're a Cannoneer, let me know if you think that would be helpful or it wouldn't be necessary at all. Nightwalker Shadow Momentum. You can now right-click the skill icon in the skill window to hide the activation effect. I think it looks kind of cool, but you know, if you want less clutter on your screen, that's good. Darkness Blessing Final Damage Boost decreased from 10 to 8. Again, I'm assuming that after the last 2 rounds of updates, Nightwalker is performing very well. So this is probably not a super negative thing at all. Shadow Spear, again, remember, it's 2% final damage decrease, but not 2% total damage decrease, right? It's not as, it's not that much. Shadow Spear's damage decrease from 400% to 375. Okay. So I guess they must be performing quite well. They're not even putting any kind of, you know, developer notes here. It's just like, well, you're just a little bit too strong. We're trying to make sure that the other classes, you know, they said before, we try to do like smaller increments, and we're trying to not get to the point where we're just only buffing, and we're always buffing everyone, because you'll never buff evenly, and then, you know, you just run out of control with the damage. So we're just going to take like, who are the best performers? Let's bring everyone else up to that level. If anyone surpasses it, let's take them down a notch again, and let's look at the ones that were highly performing and that we kind of, you know, neglected for a while, see if they need anything, and then try to keep them, not do this, but do like this, right? So that's what they're doing pretty clearly with these changes, trying to see who's performing the best and try to rein them in just a little bit, just to make sure that they don't have a run for the shops, run for the whatever the expression is for you guys. Okay. Tidal Crash, so that's Striker, that's Thunder Breaker. The ability to stop while rushing by pressing the skill again with the down arrow key has been replaced with the ability to be able to stop by pressing the down arrow key, but just by itself. Okay. That's probably fine. Skill has been improved so that it does not share the minimum applied cooldown with Thunder. Oh, okay. Okay, its own cooldown, its own thing. The sound effect of Shadow Momentum is pleasing too. Little things, yeah. Lightning Cascade skill has been improved so that the passive effect activates while the active effect is not activated. So similar to the Bowmaster change there. Mihail. Okay, let's see what happens to Mihail and if it's still a good idea to main that. Skill has been improved so that the invincibility effect is not affected by skill effect transparency. Shining Chase issue where you could not use this. Sorry. Skill continuously for a certain period of time after using it has been improved. Okay. Royal Oath final damage boost increased from 18 to 23. Soul Rage final damage boost has been decreased from 30 to 25. But that's still an increase. 18 to 23 and 30 to 25 decrease. Still an increase. It's good stuff. The cooldown has been decreased from 40 seconds to 30 seconds on install shield. Nice. Nice, nice. Okay. Actually, I say that, but 118, 4, 4, 6, 4, 7, 4, 7, 3. Yeah, 4.6 to 4.73. Yeah, 0.13% final damage more. Should I get into MapleStory? I don't think that's a matter of should or shouldn't. Like, if you think you'll enjoy it, I think you should try it just to give yourself a chance to maybe, you know, get into a game that you will enjoy playing. I think for any game, if you think that you might like it, I think you should just give it a try. Yeah, that's probably one of the few shoulds, but fun and enjoying it, I think it would be the main thing there that determines whether or not it's a good idea to do it. It's a trap run. I mean, any game, especially every MMO, is designed to get you to play infinity amount of time, right? So from the get-go, stay safe, you know, stay protective of your own time, that kind of stuff. Aaron boost and Storm of Fear and Hunter's Targeting getting some treatment. Let's see, skill has been changed so that it can be registered and used as a shortcut key for Storm of Fear and for Hunter's Targeting. That's nice because I always mess that one up. At least, you know, the 5 times that I've tried because I haven't played Aaron very much. And Hunter's Targeting skill has been changed so that it can be registered and used as a short key as well. Aha. I assume that means you lose a little bit of final damage because you didn't use the attack, but it's cooler in like a pinch situation, especially if you don't have great ping, that you at least can rely on the skill, especially because Hunter's Targeting is also an iframe, that you can rely on it going off instantly and working rather than, you know, hoping that it works, and if it doesn't, you're screwed, you know. All been free to play? Yeah. Argument though for non-reboot is that it is pretty pay to win. Even though you can play it completely for free, you get a huge amount of benefits of spending money on it in the non-reboot server. In reboot though, the amount of benefits is very small, so there we can still somewhat keep our free to play image, I guess. Evan, Swift of Wind skill now deals 75% points increased damage when attacking normal monsters. I don't know what the number is right now. I'm gonna guess that's pretty big. But Swift of Wind blows out a lot of particles, and if you get to higher level areas, Grandis and beyond, I can imagine that it's really hard for that skill specifically to keep up with being able to realistically actually kill monsters. So they probably have to increase that damage for it to be able to scale properly with everything else. Of course, it would help with early training for it to start being able to one-shot, which is also nice for the class, of course. Onyx Blessing magic attack boost has been decreased. I think they're really attacking those passive attack boosts. I wonder if that's because of access to percentage attack, that they're scaling a little bit too hard. Or they're maybe... Oh, maybe because of Oz rings, right? Because that's like scaling with that. Maybe they're trying to hurt everyone with the Oz rings. They're trying to take down the scaling of the Oz rings a little bit for the new rings that are coming up, so that it might be a better alternative for Oz. Maybe I'm looking into that a little bit too much, but that might be it. And magic attack boost has been decreased from 35 to 30. It might also just be that Evan is over... That might actually be more... I think Evan is probably also in the class that's overperforming a little bit, so they're nerfing a little bit of the magic attack, a little bit of the final damage, but they don't want the mobbing to become worse, so then the Swift of Wind change is this... What is the most fragile skill there that can be, you know, ruined the most by that damage decrease? So let's buff that one a little bit so people's mobbing isn't harmed. That's more what it looks like, honestly. Luminous Equilibrium Liberation. The skill has been Equilibrium. The skill has been changed so that when the Larkness gauge... Larkness? Did he do a WL joke there? Darkness gauge is full. You can now use this skill to enter equilibrium mode. You can right click the skill. There's been too much changing with Lumi and equilibrium mode in like the last... I'll wait until this goes through and then give the class another check, because I have no idea how it works right now. I've been reading a bunch of patch notes about it, but I haven't had any hand-on experience, and I honestly am totally lost at this point. It's possible that only very little changed and it was just a little bit of quality of life, or you have to do a whole bunch of different stuff now to actually get into equilibrium, stay into equilibrium, or do preparation for bosses and stuff. So I'll have to look into that personally. It says you can right-click the skill to set it to automatic activation mode. Where if the darkness gauge is full, it says Larkness again. Is that the name in Korea? Larkness? Okay. You can use an equilibrium skill, Gate of Truth, Punishing Resonator, or Baptism of Light and Darkness to enter equilibrium mode. Okay, so more similar to Arc, where you don't want it to actively to just go into Spectra and... Did my internet just meme out? My my bishop just completely crashed from the game. Okay, cool. Light and darkness equals Larkness. No, light and darkness is equilibrium, isn't it? Oh, the gauge itself. Okay. Is that the name? Huh, I never knew that. I would just call it the equilibrium gauge or something. Liberation Orb, the active effects imbalance. The active effect imbalance. What is that apostrophe doing here? Imbalance damage has been increased from 1,000 damage to 1,200, and the balance damage increased from 1,100 to 1,300. The increased damage per access magic power has been increased from 115% points to 150% points. Nice. Was I even logged in? I don't think I was. Let's log into the buck so we don't forget to do Monster Park again like we did yesterday. In the August 25th, Liberation was added with a feature to delay entering equilibrium mode. In the September 29th update, we added a feature to enter equilibrium mode by using an equilibrium skill. In this update, we changed it so that equilibrium's grace period is provided by default and changed equilibrium liberation to a skill that is used to enter equilibrium mode. In addition, we maintained the ability to enter equilibrium mode by using equilibrium skills in the form of a custom command so that Luminous players can use equilibrium mode more flexibly based on the battle situation. Huh. Liborb is doing some nasty damage now. I think when that skill came out, everyone was kind of like, looks a little gimmicky, and then be like, it hits pretty hard, I guess it's pretty good. And now it's just like, they've been ramping that shit up, so to now it's probably one of your bigger burst skills. I guess it has... Is that the one with like a 3-minute cooldown though? It has a pretty long cooldown, I think. Mercedes Lightning Edge, the action delay has been decreased by about 22%. The time it takes to start moving has been decreased by about 60%. And the issue where you could not use this skill continuously for a certain period of time after using it has been improved. Or alleviated, I hope. Let's see. Phantom, other than the Dark Knight passive nerf. Let's see what else changed. Shroud, the skill's been improved so that you can use the basic attack, jump, or other skills while using the skill to instantly cancel Phantom Shroud. Oh, that's kind of cool, because you kind of got stuck in that now. Lightning Edge less clunky, and it's 3 minutes. Okay, thanks Adele. Ultimate Drive damage increased from 140 to 160. That is probably one of the worst skills in the game. Like, I had one of the worst times in Maple trying to train a Phantom with Phantom skills at like up to before getting the 4th job. Like Mille Aiguille and Tempest are pretty decent skills, but anything before that was just so horrible. Granted, this is years ago, so it might already be not nearly as bad now. Tempest of Cards damage increased from 400 to 455. That's pretty big. I'm pretty sure, oh god, last time I checked that Phantoms actually run cooldown skip to see if they can get multiple Tempests off in their burst, because it's actually a huge damaging skill. So I imagine if you can hit 2 of these with an extra 55% base damage, that's pretty massive. But again, you know, Phantom's not known for getting huge amounts of buffs or anything like that, so probably not even going to put them on the map in any kind of significant way. But hopefully for the players out there that are still loyal and true to their Phantom class, hopefully it's a nice little push in the right direction. Blackjack, when a targeted enemy disappears, the time where it can find a new enemy has been increased from 2 seconds to 4 seconds. That's always nice, especially, you know, probably wasn't as noticeable when we had totems, but since totems are gone, this is probably more and more a thing where you're like, okay, this blank check had like 1 or 2 monsters. It has like 7 more bounces in it, but there's nothing left and it just disappears instantly. Be cooler if that amount of seconds was just up to like 6 or 7, so you could actually still hit the next wave. But, you know, as a Demon Avenger with Nether Shields, and that skill having been redone like 15,000 times, I feel that same thing. So that's always a nice nice start. But, you know, I'm sure Phantoms could use some more. Let's see, Shade, summon other spirit, change into a toggle. Not enough experience with Shade to know how different that exactly is. I thought that was a huge cooldown skill. It's like an extra Guardian Angel kind of thing, right? Like a GA, well, I guess like a door, we should say, because we're playing MapleStory. And then Spirit Ward's skill's been improved so that if you see that you can see the number of remaining Guardian Spirits in the buff window and quick slot. Okay. Similar to the other, you know, things with charges. So nothing like, no real, just a little bit of quality of life, that's it. Demons! Okay, here come the DA buffs. Let's see. Skill has been improved so that the high jumps action delay is affected by attack speed, and Demon Slayer HP consumption changed from 10% max HP to 2000, and that's it for all the demons. I don't know what I expected. Okay, Blaster. Oh boy, that's a lot of stuff here. Well, resistance classes, right? They're still getting more love, or finally getting the love they deserve. Not like they're getting preferential treatment now. Skills been improved so that when the skill is used on a platform or at the end of the map with no movement, you can cancel the skill by pressing the jump key or using the skill again when the custom command is activated. It's like bobbing and weaving, right? And then the same thing for the other one. Okay. Shockwave Punch action delay has been decreased by about 7%, and the time when linking becomes available will not change. Okay. Okay. Hurricane Mixer. Was it like Falcon Fist, Falcon Tornado or something like that? I want to say Falcon when I see this. I don't know if that's the name. Skill has been changed into a single attacking skill that creates a storm to sweep through enemies in a wide range, dealing 50% damage 5 times and up to 12 enemies. Keydown feature has been removed. The cooldown has been decreased from 45 seconds to 15. And when the skill hits an enemy, the duration of max stacked combination training has been changed to 12 seconds. The MP consumption has been changed from 20 MP per attack to 60. This skill has been improved so that it can be used while in the air. Interesting new tweak to an existing skill. I hope that improves their mobbing. Hurricane Mixer Reinforce. Damage is increased by 20% as a hyper skill. And then the cooldown reduce has been removed. Okay. The damage increase to 20% is like there is a 20% separate damage activated, right? It doesn't have to do with the base. Or how did the hypers work again? Hypers is a multiplication, right? It's like 20% final damage, I thought. Which is 3 ways you can read this. You can read this as 20% damage added to the 1250% damage that it already has, in which case it's completely useless. It goes from 1250 to 1270. That's completely unnoticeable. Or you can see it as that there's a line of 20% damage being applied when that skill hits something, as in 20% damage, like normal monster damage. Or damage percentage, in which case it's probably pretty good because your total damage is probably only hovering around 300 to 350. Or you could see it as 20% final damage to the base skill's percentage damage, which I think is what we landed on that it was, which means that it's 1/5 of 1250, which is 250, so it would go from 1250% damage to 1500% damage. But I think it's the third option there, but whoever is like the math nerd, if it's option 1, 2, or 3... I forgot which one it was. Or was it the second one? Like a 20% damage line on a potential, basically. Because the third one would be too OP. And the first one should be written as percentage, as 20% points. And then it would be garbage. Because I thought they unified whether it's percent points or not. So it's probably 2 or 3, and 3 is too strong, so it's probably 2. But, you know, have at it, nerds. And I say that in the most loving way, of course. Corlep is saying it's a line of 20%. Okay, so it would be the second one, right? Yeah, okay. That seems the most normal, because the third one would be OP. The first one would be completely underpowered, so the second one is the only one that seems to make sense. Skill icons have been improved for Battle Mage. Damn. Nice. Union Aura, Legion Aura, of course, in GMS. The feature to reuse the skill to deactivate it has been removed. Okay, because why would you want to? And Black Mage Alter skill, there's probably one or two Battle Mages like, well, actually in this one Bass fight, in this one scenario, you actually would want to... Okay. The skill has been improved so that you can see the duration of the altar with the lowest remaining duration in the buff window. This skill has been improved so that if you use this skill with the down arrow key while there are no altars installed and you have only one prepared altar, no altars will be summoned. Okay, no extra... Yeah. No undesired activation if a partial activation is possible. That's good. So similar to the Wind Archer changes. Wild Hunter's skill icons have been improved, and triple jump ability to use the skill upwards has been added. However, it cannot be combined with the forwards jump. Huh. Okay. And about Vulcan Type P, which I heard that people don't really use, MP consumption has decreased from 200 MP to 50. Is it really true? Do you guys not use the P type? I guess because it's P, you know? It's like PP. It's like yellow. It's like dirty. It's like urine. Maybe? I don't know. Might have nothing to do with it. Mechanic, also skill icons improved. Says that they are working on the resistance classes, guys. Trust, copium, full cope. Just not a huge overhaul, but they have, they have their focus. Jet booster skill has been improved so that you will not be put in combat when using mechanic dash in the air. Thank you. Homing missile, which is very different from what we have it now. Homing missile is going through quite some changes between GMS right now and KMS here. Where you could not use certain other skills immediately after firing has been improved. Good. Ow, my back. Oh, too long without bouldering, and now, feeling it everywhere. Ooh. OpenGate GX9, this skill has been improved so that you can see the duration of the open gate with the lowest remaining duration in the buff window. Okay. Robot Master skill now increases damage by 45%. The damage boost per summoned robot has been removed. Okay. Bomber time skill has been changed so that you can cancel the skill by right-clicking it. Okay. And then Metal Armor Full Burst skill has been improved so that you can use certain stat-increasing buff skills even while casting it. Oh. But when it says certain, are we just going to have to try all of them and see which ones work and which ones don't? Developer notes, mechanic summons several types of robot to battle and is structured, does it now, and is structured that their stats increases in proportion to the number of summoned robots. Due to the structure in both grinding and boss battles, you had to summon and play around robots that weren't even required in the current battle situation in order to get maximum effectiveness from the skill. True. And so they removed the structure where their stats increased in proportion to the number of robots summoned by Robot Mastery, and changed it so that they receive the maximum damage boost at all times to alleviate the stress of maintaining all of the robots. I think that sounds like pretty sizable quality of life that you don't have to worry about constantly upkeeping. I'm sure that people who are good at the class find empty moments where you can't really attack the boss anyway, and then use that time to replenish all the robots to keep the buffs up. But having to not do that would be great, of course. Not like babysitting all of the robots. So that seems really nice. Skill icons changed for Xenon as well. Purge, Lob, Masquerade, Snipe. Too many words. That's like the main attacking skill, I think. Damage increased from 360 to 395. That's about 10% final damage. It's never a horrible thing. Bigger number better, right, guys? Damage go better. Hologram Graffiti Force Field. The energy ball speed has been increased by about 33%. Sorry. Meltdown Explosion skill has been improved so that it can be used while in the air. That's cool because that's actually an iframe. So being able to use your iframe in the air as opposed to having to stand on the ground gives it much more utility. That's nice. Photon Ray damage has been increased by from 700 to 800. And it's quite a lot of hits, so that sounds nice. And the initial aiming will now prioritize attacking the boss monster with the highest MP. Was that still not a thing? It's crazy to me how years after skills come out, it'd be like, oh, this burst skill, yeah, we're gonna make it actually aim at the thing that you want to burst now. It's like, why wasn't that a thing 3 years ago when you released that skill? It was, but the targeting was still shitty. Okay, so hopefully a little less shitty now. Gotcha. Okay. Kaiser, transfiguration of the attack speed boost based on the morph gauge stage has been removed. The morph gauge decreasing over time has been removed. Wait, that was still a thing? God, that reminds me of when Ilium's attack speed came from having max stacks, but you would lose a stack every single time you would get hit by something, or you would use certain skills. So you would constantly be like dipping into and falling out of your max attack speed. So that was this thing, thing that Kaiser still had. Oh god. That's so bad. Sword Mastery skill now increases attack speed by 1 stage. Yes! An attack speed as a passive where it always should be. Good job. Final Figuration, the skill has been improved so that the character's hit range is the same in Final Figuration mode. Wait, the hit range. So not the hit box, but how far you hit? Wait, Final Figuration has been improved so that the character's hit range is the same in Final Figuration. If you say the same or equal to, you have to say 2 things. You have to say the same as what else? You can't say like strawberries. Strawberries have been changed so that they're now the same. As what? Hurtbox? Well, that would be one thing, right? That would be the hitbox, but it says hit range. So to me that reads like they will how far you can hit with your skills would be the same in Final Figuration and out. You can read this like a whole lot of times. Or you can read this as your hitbox stays the same with an in and out. Or it could be something completely different. Whatever, I'm not saying that Max's translation is garbage here. It could be that the wording from the Korean team is just really bad, and this is just what it says in Korean. But yeah, some kind of figuring out on what it says exactly or what it's supposed to mean exactly would be cool here, because this sentence doesn't mean much to me. Dragon Blaze's skill has been improved so that the passive effect activates while the active effect is not activated. Okay, so I don't know if they just had like bad interactions with skills where they wouldn't or would do that. So I'm guessing this seems like some kind of logic update that they just did, and it changes it for a bunch of skills. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a skill where this is actually a negative if it happens, and it has that logic in it where they find out like, ooh, this shouldn't happen here. That's always possible. That's why it's Tespia, you know. Is after savior balance? Is this after savior balance change? Yeah, savior is over, yeah. But it's not, it's still Tespia, and this has came out yesterday, so this is very recent, yeah. Kane Possession, the issue where the skill could not be used immediately after using Shadow Swift upwards has been improved, okay. That's the only change to Kane though, so I'm assuming that just a little quality of life is enough to keep Kane where they are, so that's good news for Korean Canes, but whether for GMS that means the same. We'll have to see about that. Kadena Chain Arts Chase has been changed so that it is no longer affected by cooldown reset effects. I'm pretty sure Kadena mains want cooldown skip as their max. I wonder if this affects them a lot. Because I'm pretty sure Chain Arts Chase is used for a lot of the animation cancelling. But I don't know if you use it just animation cancel, if it could go on cooldown or not. Weapon Variety 1, the skill has been changed so that the additional attack effect is no longer affected by cooldown reset effects. The additional attack's reactivation cooldown has been decreased from 0.25 seconds to 0.2 seconds. Weapon Variety 2, same thing, and Weapon Variety 3, same thing. I wonder if they found that cooldown skip had unintended effect of giving Kadenas way more damage than they wanted them to have. Be interesting to see how much this actually changes their playstyle and their damage output at all. it looks very like I don't play Cadena, but this could mean that certain combos that they do now they can't really do anymore, or this could be just a minor tweak to make sure that they don't get out of control. Could be one of the two. Did it touch Pathfinder? No, we didn't come across Pathfinder at all. No changes here. No. Yeah, you're gonna struggle to find Noah around. Haven't seen him in a while. Angelic Buster, Affinity 4. You can now right-click the skill icon to hide the Soul Recharge UI. Okay, huge changes for Angelic Buster. Cool. 0 Longsword Mastery Final Damage boost increased from 21 to 23. Okay, so a small boost there. And then Joint Attack Beta's Chain Damage has been increased from big numbers to slightly bigger numbers. 80%, 70%, 200% on the last one. And then Alpha changes basically the same. No, actually completely the same. The combined attacks damage has been increased from 2050% to 2200%. Okay, so even more burst. And that comes after adding that new skill to 0, which apparently, from what I heard, allegedly, gave it a whole bunch of extra damage already. So the combination... So that apparently still didn't put 0 quite where they wanted them. So additional buffs come in. Not like insane buffs, but still, you know, they're still looking at the class. They're still wanting it to get further. So, you know, still love going towards that class. Then Kinesis. Oh, with some developer notes. Oh, goody. Let's see what they have to say. Ultimate Deep Impact Action Delay decreased by about 23%. And the time it takes to start moving has been decreased by 27%. I don't know if people really use that skill where my Kinesis at. I know that it can take away boss buffs, and actually during Project CRA people explained to me that this is used to cleanse the damage reflect off of Queen. Yeah. But I don't know if it got used for anything else. Kinesis, let me know, okay? If you Kinesis, Psychic Drain, Khaleesi, please explain. Psychic Drain, Psychic Point recovered for each hit of the skill has been changed to apply only to normal monsters. The skill now passively gives a 40% chance to recover 1 Psychic Point when attacking boss monsters. Okay, I guess that's to avoid having to constantly replace it to drain whenever bosses reposition, because they do tend to do that, or when they become untargetable and stuff like that, to make it a more streamlined regular income for points that you can rely on for your combos. This effect will not well, I guess it's 40% chance, but it's still, you can still have bad RNG then, I guess. I don't know. This effect will not activate for certain summons attacks, including Psychic Drain for... Wait. This effect will not activate for certain summons attacks, including Psychic Drain. Yeah, of course. For certain ultimate skills, the recovery chance will only be applied when the first attack hits. Kinesis was tend to be played by properly placing skills based on the location of monsters in boss battles, but Psychic Drain became a skill with high management stress. I thought they already... That was like the last year or year and a half where Kinesis was already trying to take the stress of having to reapply and, you know, debuff manage and DOT manage all of that to take that down a lot, right? In this update, instead of recovering psychic points when Psychic Drain hits boss monsters, we added a feature where you can recover psychic points with a certain chance when attacking with other skills. This will reduce the fatigue of operation for Kinesis and boss battles by reducing the dependence on hitting Psychic Drain. Yeah, but I think it's also... I mean, 40%, if you hit a lot, then it evens out. But I don't know if Kinesis has, like, a crazy amount of individual hits. Well, I guess BP... It says it will not activate for certain summons attacks. Summons attacks. Okay, so it will... So it should trigger on BPM, right? Which would hopefully make the average amount of point regeneration more stable. I hope this doesn't end up being that, oh, I got shitty RNG for like 30 seconds and now I don't have any PP left, and then suddenly I'm like overflowing with PP. These sentences, I swear they make sense, okay? If in context, they're really good sentences. Don't just, yeah. Um, yeah, and if well, you're true. Yeah, if they run out of PP, they can always just use a blue pot. Okay, or blue pill if you get older. This skill has been improved so that you can see the duration of the order with the lowest maining duration in the buff window. For the swords, sure. I mean, yeah. Okay. Fine. Copy channel link. Oh, sorry, it's not in yet. Let me check. Exclamation mark. KMS. Where's my command? My bad. KMS. Boom. There it is. Yeah, should be under the command now. Kali, major changes. Arts Crescentum. This skill has been improved so that it can be used after casting Void Blitz. And that's it. Okay. Arc feature of all the damage during the bind being applied after Blissful Restraint ends has been removed. Thank you. It's cool to see an HP bar get nuked. It's not cool to wait for your damage to apply and then failing a will test or in phase 3 will all of the damage disappearing because it goes into an iframe. Okay, the upside was like the shock. We're over that now, so please make it functional now. Thank you. Endless Pain skill has been improved so that the cooldown applies at the start of the key down. Oh, okay. That's actually nice. That's nice. That might mean that we can squeeze in 3 during Culvert, right? Yeah, you'll definitely be able to squeeze in 3 Culvert ones now. Okay. Charge spell amplification. This skill has been improved so that the charge spell amplification's effect now apply to the charge spell buffs applied at the time the skill is used. Huh. That's also pretty cool. Now, that's not as big of an effect though, because charge spell amplification together with the regular 10% damage hyper, they're already the skills that you press first anyway. But it does change the order of things a little bit, where you first apply your spell bullets, then them, and then everything else, instead of first these 2, then your spell bullets, or at least 1, and then your spell bullets, and then all the other ones. It's a slight order of operation thing. It probably saves you like 5 to 10 seconds longer of having the buffs on. But our burst has been cut short already, going from a 3-minute to a 2-minute, so I don't think it's that crazy of a difference. I'm thinking if there's... Yeah, I don't know, because there's already switching between Spectra and between Flora anyway, so you're already reapplying the debuffs pretty commonly. This one is not that. It's like a little bit of quality of life, I guess, but it's not like... You probably, most of the time, still want to reapply to make sure that they have the full duration, and that you don't have to redo it while you're still bursting in Spectra, because you can't, right? You have to rebuff in Flora rather than in Spectra. So I don't think this is going to have like a huge effect, but it'd be cool in certain situations. Endless Pain is going to do more for our damage, so that's cool. And Blissful Restraint just will alleviate some bad interactions from happening, so that's cool. Lara Expression Wind Swing. You can now right-click skill icon to set if party members can use the skill. That's probably cool, because I've been... Well, actually I mostly have it on my Lara, because who parties with a Lara? But like trying to go through a portal when you accidentally summon that, and like flying in the air over the portal instead of going through. It's so annoying. But yeah, I guess you don't accidentally want to start floating and not being able to use your skills, and then have to figure out which button combination you have to press to actually get out of the floating animation. That's probably fine. So as a Lara, you can get to ask everyone, do you guys want to be able to float, or are you okay? And they'll be like, we're okay. Okay. So let's turn that off for you guys. Advanced Wand Mastery skill now increases attack speed by 1 stage. And this is probably in reaction to the changes of attack speed not applying to any mages anymore that KMS implemented a while ago. I think with Savior. So apparently, probably for the Spirit Sprinkle, that it's a little bit too slow for people now. So they wanted to add that again. That's what it looks like. And then Dragon Vein conversion cooldown has been decreased from 3 seconds to 1 second. Oh, I never use that skill. The increased skill cooldown when you successfully change an element has been increased from 4 to 6. Huh. So it's ended up being 7 seconds. But success loaded rather than failure loaded. Okay. Lara nerf Peepo sad. Wait, where? Where's the nerf? I mean, it's not a buff, but nothing's really nerfed here either. Conversion from 4 to 6? Yeah, but the base cooldown went from 3 down to 1. So the total is still 7. Now if you try to converse and you fail, then you have a 3-second cooldown. And if you converse and you succeed, you have a total cooldown of 7 seconds. These 4 and these 3. After this changes, if you try and you fail, it's a 1-second cooldown. But if you try and you succeed, it's still a 7-second cooldown. It's just on the back end for succeeding. So I don't know if it's major, but if anything, it's a slight buff, or like a quality of life. How do you fail a conversion? I think you have a certain amount of time before you have to click a button, and if you're like too slow or or you click the same color as the one, I don't know. I don't use this skill at all. I don't play Lara enough to use this. But I imagine it happens, otherwise there wouldn't be a contingency for it, right? It's easy to fail, trust me. There you go. Trust the guy who just misread this, said he was bad at reading. Sorry. By not pressing the button or getting knocked away. Yeah, maybe getting knocked away. Yeah, that's probably one way to mess that up. Or to, you know, to have it not go the way you want it. You're not the one messing it up. Someone else isn't messing it up for you. Ho Young, Talisman Warp Gate skills been improved so that buff freezers are applied. Cool. And Sage Taiyu Cologne skill cost have been changed from 15% max HP to 200 MP. Yeah, that's... Wait, your bind costs you 15% max HP? That's so weird. That could just get you killed in some boss fights. Yeah, 200 MP. Yeah, that sounds fine. Let's do that. Let's do that instead. Gone are the days of accidentally dying. Is this supposed to be like a shadowy picture, or is he looking away from us and we're looking at the back of his head with his top knot? I wonder which one it is. Leave a comment. Items. It has been approved that when you use experience-related growth potions or a character past the specified level range, will now display the experience percentage you will have after using it. Thank you. Wow. I wonder who complained to get that through. But whoever you are, you're a winner. Okay, you're a trooper. Thanks for fighting for us. Using Premium Water of Life, the item description will now indicate that the pet's magic life will be extended by 90 days. This should be for all items. First, if it's a coupon, why the hell is it a coupon? Just give me the item and extend the duration of the item. If you have a transferable coupon, just give me the item and make the item transferable and extend the duration of having to use the item by what the duration of the coupon was, okay? First of all. Don't do the whole thing where you give me a coupon for a box that has coupons in it for items for boxes for coupons. Stop doing all of that. Okay, please. Just redo that whole thing, all right? But second of all, yeah, if you're going to keep doing this stupid system, you have to have a timer for the item and then have a timer for the effect as well. If you have a coupon for an X close and the coupon has a certain duration, you need to also say on the coupon whether the NX item is time limited or is permanent, right? Like, if you're going to do the Matryoshka dolls of fucking coupon box, item box coupons, then every single thing has to be specified in how long are you going to have as a duration for that, and is it going to be transferable or tradable or not, right? So that's why you should just give the item, make it transferable if you want it to be transferable, not if you don't want it, but always highlight whether it will be or not, and then just whatever the duration you think is fair, just slap all of that onto the final item and be done with all of those stupid ass systems, okay? Someone hire an intern, pay them, whoever you hire for it, pay them, and have them streamline that thing. Please. It's just so unnecessarily complicated. There's got to be a way to get in there and just fix that. Okay. It has been improved so that you can preview name tag ring chat bubble rings in the tooltips of vouchers in the cache inventory. Cool. And the first aid set item icon has been improved to remove all the red cross. I was going to say, I see first aid. I'm like, oh, did they find another red cross? Yeah. For people who don't know, in the game, a lot of green crosses have been popping up. Any red cross cannot be used by anyone except for the red cross. And all video games, of course, you know, with healing and stuff, have been using red crosses everywhere. And they have to remove that. Okay, they can actually get sued. Because they want, whenever you see a red cross, it has to mean the red cross so that people know exactly what it means and where to go. Very based with that. Magnus boss pattern update. Show us. Is that shitty resolution? What's going on? 1080p, baby. Yes. Okay, no more ball. Oh. Okay, that's standard. Standing in the middle, then balls. Okay, green portals. Go one more. In Magnus, in the KMS, by the way, the range of the green mist is much smaller. Yeah, they can even overlap, and you can stand really close to that green mist without getting hit. Okay, I've yet to see any changes, because this looks like a very normal boss fight to me. Slightly to left, left, yeah. Maybe the size of the hitboxes is slightly different. I mean, he's getting missed by everything. Is it different already? I don't see any changes. He's not slapping anymore? He did not get poisoned. Yeah, see, the hitbox and the poison mist is smaller. In GMS, he would have got poison misted there. Read under the video first. Well, I'm trying to see if I can see it from the video. Oh, yeah, that damage outside is ticking way slower. Yeah, okay. And it seems he's not doing the combination of... but I want to make sure that we don't look at the boss fight too, because yeah, here it looks like one of the things that changed is like the hitbox for the green. That was already like that in Korea. The hitbox of the green is very small in Korea. You can get very close to it without getting zapped. In GMS, that's bigger. I don't know why, but that's the thing. Oh, we actually got through the playlist. Yeah, restart. So detect range when casting the slow debuff has been adjusted. I love that word. What the fuck does that mean? Changed, adjusted, balanced, reorganized. Oh, these... give me some buzzwords that mean absolutely nothing. Yes. The attack range when casting the undead debuff zone has been adjusted. The penalty when outside the zone has been changed. Oh, yeah. I love... Oh, modified. Recalibrated. Oh, yeah. Tuned. Give me all of these words that mean absolutely fucking nothing. Oh, yeah. I just love useless information like that. In easy mode, again, I'm not trying to dig at Max at all. This is probably what the KMS patch would say, and he's just translating it. Don't try to hear it like that. Oh, man, it's insane. In easy mode has been improved so that the recovery amount... In easy mode has been improved so that the recovery amount is not decreased. So you can just full heal outside of the blue, even in easy, okay? In normal mode, the reduced recovery amount has been decreased from 90% to 20%? Yo, jeez, okay. And in hard mode, the reduced recovery amount has been decreased from 90% to 40%. Wow, that's a huge... Damn, so just healing outside of the blue area will be a whole lot. At least that stuff. But again, even if they said here exactly how much it changed for Korea, this probably wouldn't be the case for GMS. If this copy's over and we get those same things, then it'll be an insane decrease. And it'll be really weird for people like me who've been doing thousands of hard Magnuses for a decade. It'll be really weird to do the boss and to like relearn, like, can I really be that close? Can I, like, is this still safe? So it'll be it'll be funny to see. In hard mode, the continuous damage tick rate has been increased from 1 second to 2 seconds, and the meteor's damage has been changed. In normal mode, the blue meteor's damage has been decreased from 100% to 60, and in normal and hard mode, in normal mode, the purple has been decreased from 100 to 80. And then in hard mode, the blue meteor's damage decreased from 100 to 80. I thought in general it was weird that there were 3 type of meteors, and that 2 of them did the exact same damage. Just from a design perspective, that felt weird to me. Why not just make it only green and purples then? Why make it greens, blues, and purples? I guess the purples were slightly bigger, but... So, blues are only going to do 80. That combined with the slower tick rate of damage and more healing outside of the blue should allow for quite a bit more survivability. The respawn location after dying has been changed to the center of the map. That is actually really big, especially for people who haven't built their Spirit of Freedom yet. Sorry, I was almost at the cheat, but I remember it. Their Spirit of Freedom yet. And you only have that 1.5 seconds of invincibility when you respawn, and you have to jump back to the middle of the map, and then immediately the ticking damage. It's definitely... These are sizable adjustments, and a lot of them will be overlapping at the same time. This will make HMAG way less bad. Because all of these things empower each other, so it's almost like final damage bonus. Some of Magnus measures were intended to only be dodged by leaving the zone, so situations where you had to leave it happen often, but in those cases the survival difficulty was excessively high. In this update, we want to alleviate the overall survival difficulty outside the zone by increasing the amount of health recovery, reducing the frequency of continuous damage and the meteor damage, and changing the respawn location. In addition, the slow and undead patterns are debuffs that have a great impact on the player's survival, but there were no special ways to dodge them. Therefore, by adjusting the debuff patterns, ranges, and attack activation delays, there are now patterns that can be avoided with proficiency. Okay, so you can actually get better, and you don't have to just stay dead, wait for your cooldowns, bind and burst, die in the middle of the map, stay dead, wait for your cooldowns, rinse and repeat, just to get your cape, okay? And now Papulatus, a boss I'm sure none of you think needs any kind of improvement because it's already so piss easy, but let's just see what they're going to do to it anyway, okay? But yeah, prepare your comments of like, oh my god, this game is already so easy. Why would they make it even easier? CPAP is perfectly designed. Where are these the claws? I mean, I'll have to... Okay. I'll see that those claws are actually going to be there when I get into the boss fight, okay? Because right now, you spin a roulette wheel every single time you go into CPAP, hoping that the claws are actually where they're supposed to be. We'll see about that, Max, okay? I see you hovering over them. God, I hope that the rift pattern just changes. Rifts are so stupid. Nope, still exactly the same. Based. That's so little damage. Hang on, did he just get slapped for no damage? He doesn't have the gill thing on, right? Here, this slaps hits him, but he takes no damage whatsoever. This attack as well. I see the hit effect on him. Does he have the gale? No. 37. Oh, yeah, well there he dies because he tried to dash on a platform that got him stuck. Yes! Thank God they fixed CPAP. Look at that interaction with the claws. Okay, pulled here, into pulled and this is the fixed boss. Oh man. I love this game, dude. No other game will ever give you this kind of a pure enjoyment by just watching whatever shit show that was. Look, man, if I'm gonna get grabbed, grab me immediately and then let me go when the time's up. Don't do this bullshit of like letting me go just long enough to jump into a second grab and then be grabbed in two spots at the same time, possibly crashing my game, okay? Don't do that. Probably didn't need to be said, but, you know, fixed the peg. Honestly, I want him. If they say it at all, I don't think they say it. But I want, for all things in all games. Okay, this is going to be this is going to be the hill I die on. If you want the hitbox for a skill to be X, the effect of that skill has to be X. It cannot be Y. It cannot be Z. It cannot be X apostrophe, whatever the fuck. It has to be the same, okay? I will never get mad if I am in the visual representation of the skill and I get damaged by the intended hitbox of the skill. That's fine. That's what I can use to play around. What I fucking hate is if you have a skill that has a certain visual representation of damage, I am not in that, but you still kill me because the hitbox is somehow greater than the particle effect of the skill. Don't do that shit, okay? If you want the hitbox to be a certain size, then make the particle effect of the skill that same size. So we have a visual representation that we can dodge, okay? Don't... All games do this. Don't do this shit. Okay? And also, if you're a 3D game, don't do like the circle on the ground and be like, oh, but the hilt of your sword that is like hanging off your ass floated like half an inch into the circle. That means that your physical body takes damage. Don't do that either. All right? Like physical hitbox of the physical character. Yeah, just make those things line up, please. Let's see what else we can see here. Clock timer. He's not attacking, so he can actually see the timer. Oh, you can just stand there to tank that clock. It seems like the cooldown between potions is way shorter as well. Like, he can heal way more often. You can see the end key right on the bottom right. If he uses a potion here. When did he heal here? Bam. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bam. It's a 5-second cooldown. I could be wrong, but I think it's double now? It's got to be like at least 10 seconds now, right? But the fact that you can even heal those purple clocks and you can even tank one is great. That's not it. Oh. Oh, now he gets hit by that skill. I wonder why he didn't get hit earlier. But yeah, you don't even have to move. And because you can heal every 5 seconds, you can tank... Dude, this boss fight is so fucking simple now. Where before you had to just hold iframes for this thing, now you just tank and heal, tank and heal. Oh my god. Where's the challenge? I hope that you guys all know, if you only start clearing after these changes, what you should actually get is a reduced drop rate of the drops, okay? Reduced chance of capes and reduced chance of pat marks. Because you are not playing the game on the same difficulty mode that all of us did to get our drops, okay? This is some bullshit. You're playing on baby mode, alright? Remember that. In Chaos mode, the clock bomb's damage has been decreased from 100% to 70. That's still a decent thing, but like not dying and dying is a huge difference. Chaos mode, a 5-second potion cooldown has been added. Wait, has been added? Wait, there was no cooldown now? No, there's no way you can just slam... No. You can't slam potions now. Oh, wait. There's only a cooldown reduction in that. In the fucking... There's a cooldown in the falling clock stage, right? That's where there's a cooldown. Because that's the only time you really need to heal. Because otherwise, you're either dead or you're not, right? Rift kills, clock kills, beam kills. You don't really need to pot. Because either you're dead or you're not. The one time where you do heal is during the things falling. And that's when there is a cooldown. That's why I was confused with that. Okay. The wind-up claws attack range has been decreased by about 13%. It seems like they still work extremely horribly, though. Certain wind-up claws location has been changed. It looked like the left side was mostly changed. If the torrent of time does not deal damage for a certain period of time, it will change to a pattern that applies explosion damage and a teleport. The torrent of time. Is that the rift? Applies damage, explosion damage, and a teleport. The forced teleport pattern that activates when a torrent of time is used more than once has been removed. Is Torrent of Time just the phase 2? Is it just the name for phase 2? Doing CPAP with 402% drop and never seen a pet mark. How many runs in? The force teleport pattern that activates when the Torrent of Time is used more than once has been removed. What is Torrent of Time? Is it like a special... It's like a special damaging ability of phase 2, I think? I don't know, the random teleport in phase 2 is kind of annoying, but you should be able to be okay and save enough lives that if that happens, then it gets you killed. That's just, you know, unfortunate, but... You know, buff freezers are your friend. So it gets weaponized with a variety of instant kill patterns. Yep, which excessively limited the places where a character could stand. Oh yeah. Therefore, we decreased the clock bomb damage, which was an instant kill, to increase the degree of freedom in character positioning, and adjusted the difficulty by adding a 5-second potion cooldown instead. Okay. I think that makes sense. Because again, like, you weren't really slamming pots before, because either you were dead or you were not. In addition, the location of the wind-up claws has been changed so that the platforms can be used strategically in Phase 2's Torrent of Time pattern has been changed so that uncontrollable deaths from the force teleport pattern that overlap with other instant kill patterns will no longer happen. Gotcha. Okay. Alright, StarHub. Welcome, dude. Yeah, in general, just, you know, try to enjoy yourself. Exclamation mark new for some tips for new players. And if you have any additional questions, let me know. Damn, why is that... What's that posted in? Torrent time is the floor damage? I guess so, right? But I thought that was called rifts, but I guess, yeah, I guess every single region has a different damage for that. Lucid! Damn, a lot of boss changes. Lucid has been improved so that the force teleport pattern no longer activates when the powerful summon appears. Okay, no more summon and no more dragon and teleport at the same time. Fixed an issue where you could not pass through a location after a nightmare golem had been created, even before it fell. Thank you! Sometimes you jump a direction, a golem spawns, and then you're blocked by the golem, but as soon as it lands, you can still walk through. But you still got blocked because it was falling or something. And it's like, this had no business stopping me, because this was not where the golem was at all. Like, even before it died. Yeah, I don't think there is rifts in Phase 2, right? I don't think that's a thing. I thought it was like the red thing he summons that does like DOT, because he's talking about the red things not doing damage for a while, but they never do damage. But it says he then turns into a phase of teleporting and bombs, which is a thing, an attack that Phase 2 does. I don't know. Dusk pattern, let's see. Thank you for all these videos, by the way, Max. It's good stuff. Dusk proves that the void fragments are no longer created while a character is in fear mode. Void fragments. What are those? The balls? No shot. You could have just walked there, Max, instead of dashed. That would have saved you. But I guess he's trying to get into darkness faster. To showcase the darkness, right, Mac? No, he's dodging. No, he's... Oh, you could have stood in between those two balls. Or you could have gotten hit by both, probably, as well. That would have been what I did. Try to dodge it. Try to dodge both, get hit by both instead. This is the guy who soloed Saren? Damn. He's got... Ooh. He's tapping from a different barrel, we would say. Is that lightning? Or is that somebody using a flash photography outside? Certain void fragments falling speeds has been changed. I hope by certain you mean the blue. Oh, they have the little particle effects up top now. Finally, I've been trying to get this for years. Oh, finally the Lotus treatment. It seems like they have the same falling speed, but they just have different points of insemination, which mean that they won't have as much falling speed upon creation as they do now. I love that dashing. That's so fun. Dash into a jump. Oh, see, there you go. Just weave. Oh, just walk right. Would have been... Ugh. Uh-oh. He's trying to show darkness now, right? Duck? Ooh. Oh, you don't have to duck there? Damn, what a gamer. Yeah, okay, shows darkness now. So during darkness, no more balls. Holy shit, so you can freely dive and dash around to dodge the attacks without the fear of being sealed and... Damn, that's gonna make this boss so much easier. Holy shit. I got ADs... ADs what? Let's only finish 2-6 WTF. Oh, it happens sometimes. And now the... Yeah, now they're falling out. Okay. A notice effect has been added to the void fragments before they fall. Yep. Alleviated an issue where void fragments were created repeatedly within a short interval at specific locations. Yeah, I had that one time where there were just like 5 of them right on top of each other. That shouldn't have been the case. I love this dash. You can only do this on low ping, but it's pretty funny. Oh. It's so funny that he's getting almost destroyed for it. Oh, Lucid Fight. Man, this is gonna be great. For Oz Risk Taker, it only works if you don't take damage, right? Does miss count as damage if I'm a Wind Archer using Gale Barrier and take damage? Do I lose the Risk Taker? You do not lose? Oh, really? Yeah, I thought it was getting hit, but I would have to reread, I guess. Okay, nice. In Dusk, if your vision is blocked, and when you're in fear mode, and you can't predict the location of the void fragments, leading to unreasonable deaths. It's so funny that now they say that's unreasonable after this has been the mechanic of the boss for multiple years. It's like, how is it suddenly now unreasonable when we have more damage available and it's less likely to happen? Why was it not unreasonable before? Is it because now you want more people to be able to do the boss and you realize that there's a barrier for people with like lower hand stats to actually be able to do the boss fight? But yeah. Therefore, to prevent the issue of deaths regardless of control, we have changed it so that players are not hit by void fragments while in fear mode. Are you really saying that there is some RNG in your boss fight now? Are you saying that? Because it's literally every single boss fight with falling shit. In addition, when the tentacles are down, we intend for players to climb onto the platforms, but in that case, the fall distance of the void fragments was decreased, and the difficulty of avoiding them was increased. Yes. Of course, yeah, you were closer to the top, which made it way harder to burst, yeah. Now when the tentacles are down, we have reduced the speed of some of the void fragments that fell too fast and added a notice effect before they fall so you can play around. Yeah, okay, that's going to be huge. Especially for key down skills like Arc trying to get you bursted and everything. That should be huge, yeah. And then Dark Knell changes. Oh my god, so many of the bosses getting... There's like one team who did a bunch of this stuff. Korea. Definitely giving us... Oh, okay, we can already see that the orbs that are falling have new... Oh, that was going to hit him, yeah. Have new visual... Typical Dark Knell 3-second life. So an effect up there as well, which raises the question, does that mean that the ceiling of the map is now lower because as a Arc and probably some other classes as well, you can actually go above the visual ceiling here of the map. So does that mean you can actually still go above that, or did they lower that as well? But yeah, having it appear is not as useful here because the ceiling is quite a lot higher. But having different colors in them so you know which one is which. I hope those red balls get changed in some kind of way. Those things are so bad. Do they actually disappear when they hit the ground? Please. Oh. No, no. It's... Stop with these fucking recommendations every time. So this... We want this... So, okay. So he tags this one. It disappears. Cool. This one hit the ground before that one. But you see, this one disappears before that one. Okay, this is the ground. What are you doing here? Where are you? What dimension are you in? You're not in the first dimension. You're not in the second dimension. You're like in some kind of dimension that doesn't exist in MapleStory. You're like floating into like the front space of the boss fight. But somehow I can still hit you when I'm on this platform. How? we should be able to walk behind this thing, right? Because clearly it's in front of the platform. Right? It's a 2D game, so these things have to be 2D objects. You can't have fucking 3D objects in a third dimension in a 2D game, just messing up your steez. Like, and now it disappears. But like, so is it like the center point hitting the platform? Okay, maybe that's it. And now this one, instead of falling here, because it clearly hits the platform, you can see it, it starts rolling left. And it stays on the same elevation, but it doesn't disappear when it hits the ground. You can see it hit the ground. Right there it hit the ground. But instead of disappearing, it just starts rolling. And then randomly disappear. If you're gonna redo the boss mechanics, add the colors, that's cool. Cool, but look at all of the aspects of the boss, and look at which things are not acting as they should. Those balls coming in from the side, totally cool with the idea from them. They're very annoying. It's a very difficult pattern to go by because it's diagonal when you're focusing on like vertical stuff. So it's like an added difficulty. As much as I hate this boss fight, I kind of like that aspect of it. But the fact that how they interact with the ground, also the ground, don't make it like the 2.5 dimensional. Just make it a flat fucking surface, okay? Don't do this thing where you're trying to do like half 2.5D, because now we have to like figure out, do like, try to triangulate where is the intersection of the cosine of the fucking angle of the yaw of the shaft of the ball coming in, and like where is it actually going to like hit the platform, and when is it actually going to disappear? Like I want to be able to see like impact point, ball hits thing, disappears, done. Like 2D game, all right? 2D physics, please. I'm not sure if his attack patterns are different at all. Maybe the percentages of the hits are a little bit different as well. I don't know, definitely in the beginning, Darknell, very difficult boss fight. Very confusing patterns. I've gotten a lot better at it with with just practicing it more. I assume the other bosses will be the same here. You gotta go up here. Ooh, yeah. Oh, we're just yeah, crashing down. Let's see what these balls do. You can just stay above these forever. Left, right, left, right. Just gonna smash here. And I was gonna swipe. You could just duck under that? Can you? Was that already a thing? Okay. The 3 types of energy orbs are easier to distinguish, and the fall speed has been adjusted, and the notice effect. Leave it an issue where the energy orbs were created repeatedly within a short interval. So that's the only thing that they adjusted. Okay, so since the ceiling is so high, them showing when it's being created is actually not useful at all. I would say the falling speed and then maybe the icons, that's probably good. And then the third thing, instead of having the creation thing, I would say do something about those diagonal balls and the way that they interact with the floor. They just have to... Their lifespan just has to be an X amount of time. Like, from creation to disappearance should just be, I don't know, 6 seconds or something. And that's it. And then in 6 seconds, they should always be gone. Not like this, sometimes they just roll over the ground for 3-4 additional seconds. Like, that, you can't have that happen. The boss fight is already cluttered enough. Like, this is the early part of the boss fight. Like, look at everything that's going on in the map. This is the simple part of the boss fight. This gets about 2 to 3 times as crazy as you get. Instead of 1 or 2 of these guys, you get like 4 or 5 of these guys and 1 on the side to spawn at the same time. Yeah. You can always duck under the dash slash. Damn, I never did that. I guess I'll try to start doing that. It just doesn't look visually like you should be able to, but rather I get hit like here by a slash that looks like that, and then that's a reasonable hitbox, you know. Again, it comes down to like sprites and actual hitboxes again. There seems to be no correlation between those things in most games. Versus in 20, yeah, it should be doable. We're near the end of this, I think. So it's only, yeah, there's not that much left. And Darknell was hard to identify the energy orbs because the colors of the map and the orbs were similar. Yeah, very. The images are different. Yeah, people. Well, not even to mention people with color blindness. Yeah, it might be like a whole bunch of shit. Although colors being similar is typically more annoying for people without color blindness than people with, because you might see colors that look similar to people without color blindness. Very different if you have certain types of color blindness. But therefore, we changed the images of the energy orbs to be more intuitive. Yeah. In addition, we added the notice effect of the energy orbs to make them easier to deal with and alleviate the issue of orange continuously green. Yes. You just restated what we already saw up there. Black Mage Power of Creation meteors hit ranges have been decreased by about 20%. Power of Creation meteors hit range. Are those the rollings? Black Mage Phase 3, the Power of Creation patterns, which was intended to be one of the required control to continuously pay attention to where the platforms spawn and then finding one to stand under when he cast it. However, the size of the meteors... Oh no, it's the whites. The size of the meteors was too big compared to... Oh, no, it's a down FMA. Too big compared to the width of the platform, and the characters could still die if they were below them. Yeah. And people who pretend like that's easy and your positioning is just bad... Or there's always RNG on like the size of the ball, and you can be exactly in the spot where you're supposed to be on the little guide and still die. Therefore, by adjusting meteors hit ranges, we have improved it so that you can survive more consistently underneath large platforms. Okay. Honestly, that's probably a good start for Black Mage, and then... Because there's a bunch of people who don't have an iframe every single time when there's possibly... Like, when there's an FMA and possibly a down FMA. So for these people to have a more reliable way of surviving those instances, that's good. Then Saren. I don't know why the... Why is the auto 360p? It's 2023, man. Come on. We have internets. We have good internets. Yo, thanks for all the follows, by the way. Star Hob, God, Kin, Game, and Zerodil. Welcome. Odium dailies. We do them right after the Ursus runs. Ursus MPE dailies, if you want to join. Should Saren has been proved that the boss no longer has touch damage. Oh! Wasn't that the whole mechanic of the boss to begin with? Chosen Saren has been improved so that in all phases the sword rush attack can now be dodged by crouching. Huh. So the swipe and the rush can both be dodged by swiping. Chosen Saren has been improved that in phase 2 sunset, the sun slash attacks first and second hit can now be dodged by crouching. Okay, so it's Black Mage all over again. It's just crouch everything. It's just crouch, crouch, crouch. Ooh, but there's like an 8-second cooldown on healing. Well, maybe you finally start trying the boss in 6 months, guys. See, this is why you wait and you don't do the boss immediately when shit comes out, because it's just poor design, okay? Black Mage today? Yeah, another Black Mage later today as well. Put it in title. Since Chosen Saren had touch damage and certain rush patterns, there was an issue where the difficulty of fighting against her was different between classes. In this update, we have removed Saren's touch damage, which minimizes the disadvantage between classes and allows more freedom in party composition. RIP! Mercedes is getting carried. I'm just kidding. I love you. Okay. In addition, by changing... And fire poison. By changing some of the rush patterns so that they can be avoided by crouching, they can now be overcome through good control rather than just class diffs. Alright. Kalos changes. I'm sure there's going to be barely anything on this list. Oh, there's actually only one. Or two. The notice effect of the explosion patterns show the actual attack ranges more clearly. When the bomb pattern is bomb pattern activates, the number of bomb areas created has been decreased. I think that test was very hard, right? If I remember correctly, you get a bunch of bombs, you have a bunch of possible areas, and only one of them is where you can go to... And everyone has to go there immediately to try to tank and try to survive that. And if anyone dies, it's like in Will, then everyone fails and you have to go to do the next test again, something like that, right? I clearly know a lot about Kalos. So I guess there's fewer possible locations where the shield could be, so you should be able to find that much faster and be able to respond to it much faster. That's what it looks like. What your call is when even one structure was occupied, when the BOMs activated, the battle area and safe zones were restricted excessively. In this update, we decreased the number of bombs activated to allow for more strategic positioning. In addition, the size of the bomb's patterns notice effects has been adjusted to be more similar to the actual attack ranges, so they're more intuitive to dodge. I like how they said more similar. It's still not the same. We're still not going to make the hitbox the same as the sprites. We're just going to make it more similar than how dissimilar it was. If you're going to adjust it, why not make them equal right now? You have the opportunity. I don't understand why devs do this. Clearly, you've just admitted that the hitbox and the sprite are not the same, but you've also admitted that you don't want to make them the same. You want to make it just a bit of just guessing, I guess. So we made them slightly more similar when we could have made them exactly the same. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know enough about this fight to check that. Boss practice mode has been added to Black Mage Extreme, Chosen Sarah Normal, Hard Extreme, Watcher Kalos Chaos, and Culling Normal. Practice mode entry limit has been increased by from 20 times per day to unlimited. Where is the boss practice mode for each phase of the boss fight? Let someone who wants to try Lotus go into phase 2 Lotus. Let someone try to go into phase 3 Lotus and just practice with that a little bit. Why make it so that they have to get through phase 1 with enough lives and then barely make it into 2 with like 2 lives left and then instantly get railed there? I don't see why this is necessary. I feel like that slows down people and it makes it more likely for people to get carried because they just don't want to have to deal with all of the effort to get through one phase, only to just get instantly bodied by the next one. I really would love if they would add that. Boss entry has been changed so that you can re-enter bosses without any cooldown time. However, you will not be able to enter if there are still party members inside the boss you entered previously. All party members... Oh my fucking god, are they actually doing what I said they should have done from the very get-go instead of ruining boss fights for everyone everywhere? This was like the obvious first go-to fix that would fix their problem without creating any additional problems. It was the very first thing I said. And now we're, what is it, 2.5 years later? They're finally realizing that they're... Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Doesn't this mean we can camp normal Zakum hands? Oh yeah. That is definitely what it means. It means you can get from level 100 to like level 150 on a Legion Mule in like an hour, in like less than an hour. Just by going into Zakum, killing arms, going out. Making things in Cygnus? Well, they added it for all of the boss fights because there was this thing in Korea where people would carry people, leave them until the boss was almost dead. This was way before boss reward boxes and that kind of stuff. They would leave the boss fight. Then, this was back when CRA had like 3 channels. It was like channel 14, 15, and 16 or something like that. Then they would go in with a different person in a different channel, do the same thing there, wait until the boss was almost dead, then go in with a third person, and then the first and the second person would like destroy the box, get the money, and get all the loot for themselves, and then the third party they would have to share. And even when it went into boss crystals, it was still... people were still doing that. But they didn't want people to carry like multiple people at the same time and basically create like 3 boss crystals worth of value with 1 run that should have been 1 crystal. So they added this to make sure that it didn't happen anymore, which of course that fixed the problem that they had, but also created a whole bunch of new problems. Like, oh, you accidentally picked the wrong boss difficulty? Well, now you're absolutely fucked. Now you have to wait half an hour. All your buffs are gone. If you're using guild skills, you have to wait an hour for those to come back. It was just really horrible planning. So this was obviously, oh, you should just make it so that if someone that you went into the boss party with is still in the map, you just can't re-enter until everyone that you went into the party with was out. That seems like the brain dead solution from like the first minute I saw that they were having that issue and they were trying to fix that. But somehow they left this in for years, just making bossing such a convoluted shit show. I mean, I want to be happy with this, but this should have been the very first fix. Like, it's impossible to be happy with this. When anyone who played MapleStory could immediately tell you that what they put into place was horrible and that this was the obvious solution, but whatever. Why listen to the people who play your game way too much every single day for way too long if you can just, you know, put some solution that you think works without thinking of the consequences. Okay. Inner Peace, Calm Center. Has been improved so that certain monsters' recovery effects no longer use the Red Cross image. Don't care. Maps improved. That's always kind of bullshit. The seed is not even playable right now. Flag race medal styles and guild names will no longer be displayed. Thank you. Androids will no longer be visible. Less clutter in flag race. That's always nice. But what are we still missing for flag race, guys? A flag race uniform with no clutter, no special effects, nothing. You go into flag race, you get just like a neat flag race uniform with nothing that can obstruct your vision. Also, what's another thing when we go into flag race? What do we want? We want no more guild and alliance login pop-ups covering our cooldowns of our skills. Why give us the ability to block buddy list logins that can block that, but then not guild and alliance? I've never seen so many people log into my guild and alliance as when I'm doing flag race and they want to cover my cooldowns for my skills all the fucking time, okay? We just need those two things, and then we'll be fine and dandy, alright? Make it happen. In the world map, when an arcane power or arcane or authentic power map is selected, and the navigation destination and blink animation delay has been changed to make it clear that map location. For that, I mean, might be a GMS thing, but please stop making it so that we suddenly randomly cannot teleport to a map because some kind of error. And if that error does occur, don't close our map and make us reopen the whole fucking thing. Just give us the message and then let us click again immediately after that. Thank you. Okay. Waiting for that one too. Peace be with you. UI, Reboot World, typically only relevant for Reboot World. It improves that if you use up your account's daily Ursus entry limits, Ursus Golden Time guide pop-up will no longer be displayed. Can we also have it display only when it's actually Ursus Golden Time? That would be another cool thing, not just randomly throughout the day when it isn't even a thing. In Storage UI, when you click View All Inventory button, the Open tab will now be maintained. Okay, cool. As improves that when the Maple Legion UI is open, you can now use the Maple Legion short key to close the UI. Wait, that's not a thing? Oh, even more good reasons why I'm not using that key at all. Cool. So you can use it to open it, but you have to press the little X on top to close it. Nice. Oh, yes, extra colors, more. Yes, that's what we wanted. Item tools have been improved to display stats increase from scrolls and stat increase from Star Force enhancements separately. Purple numbers. Oh, man. What's your weapon attack? Well, it's 832, which is 318 plus 196 plus 72 plus 246, obviously. We've been vertically challenged on items. There are actually items in the game, in non-reboot, that are so... Their item description is so big vertically that some of the information cannot fit on your screen. Now we're going towards being horizontally challenged, where in a few years, the information is... You're going to hover over an item, and it's going to take up your entire screen, just full of numbers and info. We're going to look like full mobile meme game. You're colorblind, what the fuck? I mean, yeah, yeah. You're looking at an item. I mean, if you know the game, you'll be able to tell which one is which. Because I can tell, right? 246, that can't be a flame, so 196 has to be flame, so that has to be a tier 7 attack. 72, it's plus 8. 72 and 8 is 8 times 9, so that's probably scrolls. And then 246 has to be the Star Force bonus, because the 145 is exactly the same, which is very unlikely to happen from flames, right? So flames is the first number. Yeah. By the numbers, you should be able to tell, even if you're colorblind. It's kind of like, because also like playing in Korea, I don't know all of these stats, but I know that this is all, I can read that this is all stat. I can read that this is weapon attack. This is HP and MP, obviously, and these are the stats. You can derive it after a while, but yeah, it doesn't help if you're colorblind, of course. Yellow text, additional and purple text, and enhanced stuff. Equivalent scroll will have their stat boost displayed as purple text alone without being separated. Cool. Beauty room. Oh god, what is this? Well, hopefully we can actually do Ursus in time. Yeesh! The hair room and face room's number of slots has been increased from 15 to 24. Well, actually, now it's have been increased because it's the amount of slots in 2 different rooms. The maximum number of slots has been increased from 21 to 30. Okay. Okali dokali. Cash shop, royal hair coupon, reboot hair coupon, trendy royal face coupon, and reboot face coupon that were sold every month will be discontinued and then replaced with just a premium hair coupon and premium face coupon and the prestige hair coupon and prestige. I don't bother with any of this, so if you guys care enough, read this part, I guess. but they're just trying to simplify, I guess, having 16 different types of coupons to just having like 2 different types, which is probably fine. Error fixes coming later. Thank you so much, Max, for all of this hard work. This is really good stuff. These patch notes, as always, a notch above what GMS actually provides. As always, or not as always, but since recently, Max has also added these things where you can just click and immediately get like teleported to wherever on the patch notes you are if you want to read on a certain topic alone. I'll include the link in the description, but definitely let me know what you think about this. I think some things have been long overdue, and thank God we're finally seeing them. Some things, like the changes for non-reboot with the tradability, I wonder if that's really going to even remotely put a dent in what they're trying to put a dent into. But again, it's Tespia, test server for Korea. It's going to be at least 1 week, sometimes it's 2, before that stuff even goes live into live servers. That should be next week or the week after, so then we'll confirm. We'll check if stuff from the test server went through or not, and what did. But definitely leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Not for the algorithm, but I'm generally curious on what you guys think about these subjects. And for those small skill changes, let me know if I overvalued or undervalued some of those skill changes. I'm gonna definitely try in the coming time to play more different classes. As you guys know, if you're trying to get further into this game, you have to really dedicate into a single target, or as I like to refer to it, like play more in depth. And I'm planning in the near future to play more in width, so more in like different amounts of characters, and really reinvest my time into getting to know all the characters again, because, you know, with Destiny, with Ignition, huge amount of changes went through, so I want to keep all my knowledge as up to date as it possibly can be. So yeah, thank you for your help on that, and thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one, hopefully with even better news.